What's going on, fellow believers? In this video, we're going to discuss who the four horsemen is of the apocalypse. Who are they? Right? Who are the horses of the apocalypse? And we're going to look into Scripture, into the Old Testament, right? And we're going to see how it connects to Revelation chapter 6 about the four horsemen of the apocalypse. So right here, all right, we've got Joel chapter 2. Okay, now this is what I personally believe. Okay, so let's go into it. Now, as you can see, the great day of the Lord. Okay, and I'm not just getting that because that obviously, because there's other translations that doesn't necessarily say that, but this is why I think it is, because it says, "For the day of the Lord is coming; it is near." Okay, so we're going to connect everything, connect the dots and everything. And we're going to see what we can come up with. All right, so here we go. Joel chapter 2, verse 1. Blow a trumpet in Zion. Sound an alarm on my holy mountain. Okay? Let all the inhabitants of the land tremble. For the day of the Lord is coming. It is near. Okay? A day of darkness and gloom. A day of clouds and thick darkness. Like blackness, there is spread upon the mountains, a great and powerful people. Okay, let's stop here. So we've got it laid out here, okay? Blow the trumpet, okay? The inhabitants of the land will tremble, okay? The great day of the Lord, right here. The day of the Lord is coming. It is near. That right there is the most critical part of this, okay? Not the most critical, but very close. And then we get a little bit of what it's going to look like, right? So a day of darkness and gloom, right? A day of clouds and thick darkness, like blackness, there is spread upon the mountains. So right there, I take that to believe exactly what Jesus says in Matthew 24 and what Revelation chapter 6 says, right? When it says that the sun will be darkened, the moon into blood, or the moon will not give his light, right? You got the two different things there, but it means the same thing, I believe, is gloom and darkness. And then a day of clouds and thick darkness. Now, the clouds part, right? Now, I believe that can be kind of literal, but also it can be possibly, now I'm not saying this is what it is, but possibly that could be referring to Jesus on the clouds. That could be referring to judgment, right? A day of darkness and gloom, a day of clouds and thick darkness. Okay? Now, I'm not saying that's what that is, but I'm just saying that's what I see it as. Okay? Now, we got the scene here. Okay, we know what it's talking about. It's talking about the day of the Lord, right? It's coming and it is near. Now, this is where I believe that is talking about the four horsemen of the apocalypse right here. A great and powerful people. Okay? That's very, very vital right there, okay? This is what's going to tell us exactly who they are, okay? Now, I believe that the four horsemen is not literally four horses that have different colors and they're coming out and they're, actually doing all this stuff. I don't believe it's a physical thing, obviously. I don't believe it's a physical or literal thing. I think it's very metaphoric. All right, but a great and powerful people, right? So let's keep going. Their like has never been, right, before, nor will be again after them through the years of all generations. Now, this can allude to the same thing that Jesus says in Matthew 24, right? That this great tribulation will be like none other and never will be again, okay? So this is the same thing, right? This great nation, this great powerful people is going to be like nothing has ever happened before, right? Throughout the years of all the generations, right? Right here. Fire devours before them. Okay, and behind them a flame burns. Okay, the land is like the Garden of Eden before them, but behind them a desolate wilderness, and nothing escapes them. Now, this great and powerful people, okay, this great nation, right? they devour all things, right? So it's the land that they go into is like the Garden of Eden, paradise. But then behind them, once they get past it, behind them is like a desolate wilderness and nothing escapes them. So you cannot escape this wrath. You cannot escape this judgment. You cannot escape this desolation, okay? This destruction, okay? Now, this is the number one most important part of this passage here that will tell us what I believe that is the four horsemen of the apocalypse right here. And their appearance is like the appearance of horses. And like war horses, they run. So, first of all, we see that it is a great and powerful people. Okay? People. So, in other places, when God talks about a people, he's talking about a nation. Okay? So this nation, okay, in my head, this nation is going to be like none other when it comes to destruction and judgment on the children of Israel, Jerusalem, Judah, all them. Okay? Which is exactly who Joel is talking to here. Okay? Who Joel is writing to the children of Israel, okay, and Jerusalem, Judah, Israel, okay? So, this great and powerful people, this great and powerful nation, and then there will never be another nation like this when it comes to, the perspective of Israel, okay? A fire devours them before them. Okay, so they take over the land and nothing can stop them. Okay? Nothing can escape and you can't stop them. But, so this great powerful people, this great powerful nation, their appearance is like the appearance of horses. So we know that, and we'll get into Revelation chapter 6 in just a minute. But we're really laying the groundwork here when it comes to the Old Testament and what I believe the Old Testament talks about many times throughout the 12 minor prophets, which Joel is the second minor prophet. And so if you got all of these, okay, all these things leading up to this great and powerful day of the Lord, I think this is exactly what this is talking about. Okay, and the four horsemen of the apocalypse, okay, and we will get to this in just a minute, but one of the horses is white, the other one is bright red, the other one is black, and the other one is pale. Okay, so there's four horses, and then the riders on those horses differ. Okay, so this is what I believe. Okay, now. Okay, so whatever, it's just a great and powerful nation. They look like they have horses, whatever. Okay, now let's get into the stuff where it kind of goes a little bit further than what a nation can actually do. Okay, physical limitations. Here we go. As with the rumbling of chariots, they leap on the tops of the mountains. So this people that look like horses can now leap on the tops of the mountains. They can literally leap on top of the mountains. Is this literal? No, it's not, okay? It is not literal. This is not meant to be taken literal. This is judgment passages, okay? This is exactly how God speaks when he's talking about judgment coming, okay? It's like crazy hyperbole, okay? Crazy hyperbole here, okay? So, like the crackling of a flame of fire, right? Devouring the stubble, like a powerful army drawn up for battle. Okay, so this right here, I believe, is talking about the four horsemen of the apocalypse, which is in Revelation 6. Okay, and this right here is exactly at the same spot. I mean, we can let's keep going. Okay, let's keep going. So they're like a powerful army. Okay, before them, peoples are in anguish. Okay, all faces grow pale, Like warriors, they charge. Like soldiers, they scale the wall, right? They march each on his way, okay? They do not swerve from their paths. So they're very, like, they're going to do what they are supposed to do. They're not going to stray. They're going to go on their way. They're going to do everything. They're not going to swerve. They're going to stay, okay? They're going to be able to do everything that they're supposed to do, okay? They do not jostle, okay, one another. I'm guessing, I don't know what that means, but let's keep going. Each marches in his path. Now, if you know what jostle means here, put it down in the description below, and or not description, but comments. Comment and tell me what jostle means. But I'm not. That's not really important right now. But anyway, each marches, okay, in his path. They burst through the weapons, right, and are not halted. So again, they cannot be stopped. They're invincible, basically, okay? They leap upon the city, okay? They run upon the walls. They climb up into the houses. They enter through the windows like a thief, okay? So there's like a thief, right? Like a thief in the night, I am coming, says Jesus, okay? And so what I believe is that this is God's, just like he used Babylon, just like he used Egypt, right, as his pawns to capture Jerusalem, Judah, Israel, right, back in the, later on in the Old Testament, earlier on in the Old Testament, and then he punished them for taking them captive. So he used an outside nation to come and plunder, right, and take over the land of Israel, and then would punish that outside nation for doing this, because this was an act of punishment towards his chosen people. Okay, but like a thief, I'm coming like a thief, correct? Yes, and that's what and that goes hand in hand with everything that I believe when it comes to the end, okay, which I believe has already happened. Okay, the earth quakes before them, the heavens tremble, okay, the sun and the moon are darkened, and the stars withdraw their shining, okay. The Lord utters his voice before his army, for his camp is exceedingly great, okay. He who executes his word is powerful. For the day of the Lord is great and very awesome. Who can endure it? All right. So, obviously, again, this is the second time in this little passage that we're reading in Joel chapter 2 that it is talking about the great and awesome day of the Lord, okay? It says it in the very beginning, and it's just said it right there, okay? So there's a trend here, okay? So the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give us light, or a little bit further down, which we've already done this in a separate video, but the sun shall be turned to darkness and the moon into blood before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. So we've already went through that in my previous video. Go check it out. But let's go right here. So let's go back up real quick and let's just go through it. Okay. So blow a trumpet in Zion. Okay. The day of the Lord is coming and is near. Okay. A great and powerful people. They look like horses. They're hopping on mountains and devouring the cities. The city. They leap upon the city, the one, okay, which is, I believe, Jerusalem. And they come like a thief. Okay, the earth quakes before them and the heavens tremble. Okay, the sun and the moon are darkened and the stars withdraw their shining. Okay, so then the great and awesome day is very great and awesome. Who can endure it? Okay, so just hang on real tight. Don't leave the video. We're going to Revelation chapter 6. Okay, don't leave the video. This is very good. Let's see. So, remember the trend here, okay? The great people, the great army, okay, look like horses. They plunder everything. They're going to come into the city, the one city, okay, and they're going to plunder it. They're going to take over it like a thief, okay? So, this is very important. Here we go. Now, I watched when the Lamb opened one of the seven seals. That's Jesus, the Lamb. Nobody knew that. And I heard one of the four living creatures say, with a voice like thunder, "Come!" And I looked, and behold, a white horse, and the rider had a bow, and a crown was given to him, and he came out conquering and to conquer. And he opened the second seal, and I heard the second living creature say, "Come!" And out came another horse, bright red, and its rider was permitted to take from the earth, so that people should slay one another. And he was given a great sword. Okay, and he opened the third seal, and then the third living creature said, "Come." And I looked, and behold, a black horse, and its rider had a had a pair of scales in his hand. And I heard what seemed to be like a voice. It seemed to be a voice in the midst of the four creatures, saying, "A quart of wheat for a denarius, and 3 quarts of barley for a denarius, and do not harm the oil and the wine." Okay, so that's just, I need to go into deeper study on what that is, but that's not really important right now. When he opened the fourth seal, I heard a voice. I heard the voice of the fourth living creature say, "Come." And I looked, and behold, a pale horse, and its rider's name was Death and Hades, death and hell, followed him. Okay, so the rider's name was Death, and hell followed him. Okay, and they were given authority over the fourth of the earth, to kill with sword, and with famine, and with pestilence, and by wild beasts of the earth. Okay, so those are the horsemen. Okay, those are the horses. They look like horses. Okay, so let's go down right here. And this is what we've already went through this. Okay, now this right here, this is after, obviously, we're in the same chapter, chapter 6. This is after the horses are let loose. Okay, the 4 horsemen are let loose. Okay, this is that great people, that great nation, unstoppable, jumping on top of mountains, right? Plundering the city, right? And their appearance is like horses. So this is exactly, I believe, what Joel chapter 2 is talking about explicitly. And this is how I can make that connection. Because remember, in Joel chapter 2, what we just read, okay, it says that the earth will quake, okay, and the heavens were shaken. Okay? Now, when he opened the 6th seal, I looked, and behold, there was a great earthquake, and the sun became black as sackcloth, and the full moon into blood, became like blood. Exactly what Joel chapter 2 says. And the stars of the sky fell on the earth, as the fig tree sheds its winter fruit, and when shaken by a gale. I think it's a gal, whatever. The sky vanished like a scroll that is being rolled up. Okay? And then right here, very important. We've already made this connection in another video, okay, about Jesus talking to the daughters of Jerusalem in Luke 23 when he's being crucified. Okay? He says, he makes a connection, right, that a day is coming when he says, don't pray for me, don't weep for me, not pray, but don't weep for me. Weep for yourselves and for your children, for there's a day coming, okay? And people will say, rocks fall on us and hide us, okay? Now, in every mountain, go check it out. In every mountain, Yeah, and every mountain and island was removed from its place. And when the kings of the earth and the great ones and the generals and the rich and the powerful and everyone, slave and free, hid themselves in the caves among the rocks of the mountains, calling on the mountains and rocks, fall on us and hide us from the face of him who is seated on the throne and from the wrath of the Lamb, for the great day of their wrath has come, and who can stand? So the great and awesome day that Joel 2 is talking about is exactly the same great and awesome day that Revelation chapter 6 is talking about. Right? So, how can we make the connection? How can I say that it's already happened? Okay, well, you just gave me a bunch of stuff that's really cool. Okay, well, how is that connecting to now? Like, how do I know that that's already happened? Go on down. And I've already made a video on this too, okay? I've already made all these videos. Just go check out my channel, okay? If you have any of these questions, just go check them out. I've already made all these connections before, but I'm about to do it again. Here we go. And it shall come to pass, Joel chapter 2, the same place that talks about, the horses and all that stuff. That I shall pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your old men shall dream dreams, and your young men shall see visions. Even on the male and the female servants in those days, I will pour out my spirit. In those days, I will pour out my spirit. Okay. And then I will show wonders in the heavens and the earth, blood and fire and columns of smoke. Okay. The sun will be turned to darkness, and the moon to blood, before the great and awesome day of the Lord comes. Okay. And it shall come to pass that everyone who calls on the name of the Lord shall be saved. For in Mount Zion, blow a trumpet in Zion, it says. The very first verse in this very chapter. For in Mount Zion and in Jerusalem there shall be those who escape, as the Lord hath said. And among the survivors shall be those whom the Lord calls. Now, there shall be those in Jerusalem and Mount Zion that will escape, as the Lord has said. Jesus told them to escape. He says, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, then you know that its desolation has come. So you that are in Judea, flee to the mountains. As the Lord has said. This is before he even said it. Hundreds of years before. So, again, how can I make this connection? Well, this connection is going to Matthew 24, so we're just going to go to it, okay? Right on down here. Now, the Great Tribulation, right? Great Tribulation. Now, read this over, okay? And just keep going all the way through, okay? Now, right here. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will be darkened, the moon will not give its light, and the stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. The same exact wordage that's in Revelation 6, Joel chapter 2, okay, Isaiah, all over the place. Then will appear in the heavens the sign of the Son of Man, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn, and they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with great power and glory. Okay? And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call, and they will gather his elect from the four winds, from one end of the heaven to the other. Okay? Now, learn a lesson from the fig tree and all that stuff. But this is exactly how we can make the connection that it's already happened. Okay? Just read this and really pay attention. Put away, before we read this, let me get this off the screen so you're not looking at it. Put your presuppositions aside. Hopefully y'all still stayed in touch with this video. I really hope so, that y'all have not already tuned off, because this is the climax here. This is how we know that all of this stuff, including the book of Revelation, has already happened with the Great Tribulation and everything else, except for after the millennial reign, because I believe we are in the millennial reign right now. Hence the name post-mill. Okay, so if you see in Joel chapter 2, so that's the same language as this, okay? And it describes the four horsemen of the apocalypse. Then we go into Revelation 6 about the four horsemen. We really get to see in detail described as the four horsemen of the apocalypse, okay? We get a vivid description, okay? And then it says the same language that Jesus is saying right now. And it says that the great day of the Lord has come, and who can stand? So, we see all this stuff, right? Luke 23, daughters of Jerusalem, don't weep for me, but weep for yourselves, okay? For the day is coming, the great day of the Lord, I believe, is coming, right? And where they will say, rocks fall on us and cover us. We saw that in Revelation 6. Now, this is how I know it's all happened. Matthew 24, verse 34. Truly, I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things take place. And then this is Jesus' stamp of approval. Heaven and earth will pass away, but my words will never pass away. So, it's not, just like I've done in another video, this generation, it's not talking about the generation that hears these things or sees these things. No, absolutely not. It says, Jesus says what he means. You don't have to do all this stuff to make it, I don't know, it's weird. Truly I say to you, this generation will not pass away until all these things have taken place. What all things? Including the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with great power and glory. And even the rapture passage, which is not actually a rapture passage. And he will send out his angels with a loud trumpet call and gather his elect. Okay. We already see all this in Joel chapter 2. We just read it. That those that survive will be gathered again. That's the same thing. So, look, I really hope, I'm sorry about the background, I'm in my kitchen. Look, I really hope y'all enjoyed this, and I really hope this helps y'all out. Now, if y'all really want to know more, go check this playlist out right here and really deep dive into these things. Check it out.